In Vedic and Western astrology, it's said that Sagittarius is the sign for accidents, but how to differentiate that it will be for us, maybe for our dear ones like a partner, or we are causing it. So in this video, I will show you patterns on 4 examples from the 20 years of my learning and also experience, how to differentiate between those cases. So let's roll the intro and dive into it. Sagittarius, just like the Karaka yoga, for example, the famous Gajakeshari, which is the Moon and Jupiter, or the Bahustri yoga, which is Mars and Venus, or maybe the Tapashvi yoga, which is Saturn, Venus and Ketu, they are just showing that somewhere is the blessing, but who is really taking it? Who is really benefiting from it? It's just like the scene in the movie. We are building some stage, so it will be there in that movie, but we are not sure yet which actors, which people will be there in that room. But the question is, why Sagittarius is showing the accidents? This is related to the natural 9th house, which is the house of luck, really loaded by Jupiter, also the planet. So as we may derive it logically, if that is afflicted, this will give us the bad luck. And that is also the sign where Ketu is exalted. And Ketu is the main karaka or significator for accidents. Therefore, we would like also to have his presence whenever this situation is there as a potential in the chart. So what must be there? What are the ingredients to the recipe, as I call it, to create this possibility in our life? Probably many of you were involved in some form of accidents. If you do, please write me down in the comment. I would be interested to read and see the chart and in which time it has happened. So let us start step by step for this accident recipe. And we will start with the example of DJ Mehdi. I must say that when I was creating music, he was a really big inspiration for me. And he had this big hit Tune, and which was really, really great. But unfortunately, there was a party in his house. This was a birthday of his friend. There was an accident and he has died in this incident, which was very, very big loss for the whole music scene. And this was incredible that I have found his chart on the astrodata.com, and we have very accurate chart with the rating AA. You will not guess in which dasha it has happened. You would suspect it would be something like Mars-Ketu, Saturn-Rahu, some malefic, but no, it has happened in Jupiter dasha. Many astrologers will say, yes, this is the Jupiter in the 7th house. The 7th house is Maraka, right? Oh, this has connection to the Ketu. And some will say this is the 6th lord. 6th house also have some to do with the accident. So that's true. It will definitely trigger those side of these characteristics. But let's see what is really going on. The level of lordship, the 9th Lord Mercury is in the Sagittarius sign. And the 9th Lord, when afflicted, as we said, it has to do with the bad luck being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And those of you who are more advanced immediately will notice that there is the parivartana between the Mars and Jupiter. So now the whole thing that Mercury is connected to the Mars and Ketu, which is very negative yoga. On the Karaka level, 12th house from the moon and 4th house from the moon are involved. And when these are involved, this will somehow impact our health. When it comes to Aruda Lagna, we have also one important house for accident. And I've already talked about it in my previous video about this same topic. This is the 5th from Aruda. And if these accidents will lead to death, then it will somehow touch the 3rd from Aruda Lagna. The 7th from Aruda Lagna also will indicate the health. And in this scenario, the 5th from Aruda Lagna is that Aries, is that Mesha sign in the 7th house. And this is also aspecting the 3rd from Aruda Lagna. Therefore, those accidents may be fatal. So all is fine. We are getting the main ingredients for the accident recipe. We have this Mars-Ketu, we have the 9th Lord, the Sagittarius, and here we don't have Venus, right? So it was not a car accident. The other thing which is very important is that why it happened in the house. We see that there is the Sun and Moon yoga related to the 4th house. 4th house is showing property. But this yoga, which we were talking previously, has nothing to do with that Sun and Moon, right? Not really. We will see that this Ketu with the node will point our gaze now to the sun, because whenever Jupiter is with the node, the sun is really delivering the result. So therefore we are getting the, we could say, a path or the way to the fourth house. And also the Venus and Rahu, right? The Lagnesha and Pakesha, which are very important for health. They are also, this Venus and Rahu are delivering the torch to the moon, right? So sun and moon, this yoga is in the fourth house. So this is the bonus point, how you can add the more details to know where and how the thing is showing up in the chart, because there will be many, we will go to the second example, which is also excellent, but totally different, then the yogas will be also different. What is the essential point, especially from the perspective of timing? The 8 or 12 in the Navamsa, they must show the timing and also point towards the accident. And in this chart, we are not changing anything. We see that it has happened in Jupiter, and Jupiter is the 8th house. And what's more, we have the 12th Lord Mars, which is also aspected by Rasi Drishti. We know that this kind of aspect is very important in Navamsa by the Ketu. So that will also point toward accident, but also may indicate, this is one insight before a reset, this may also show the party, because the Pisacha Yoga is showing the party, right? The Chaturdashi Tithi, the Pisacha Yoga, and things like that. So therefore, we can say that this was also related to this specific situation. Very young person, big loss for the music and artist scene. So in your chart, see if you have this 9th Lord affliction. Is it related to the Sagittarius? Is it related to those planets which are showing something fast is happening, like Mars and Ketu? What's most important is the dasha related to 8 and 12. If you are in those periods, you have those indications, you may consider doing the Ganesha mantra, because this will counteract the Badaka influence, which is very often related to accident, and it will protect from the negative Ketu and enhance the positive Ketu characteristics. So Ganesha mantra is the way to protect yourself from accidents if you are in that time. Now we are going to the second case, which is kind of like repetition, but it is more advanced, therefore it's the second step, because here we are using the yoga formation. And specifically we will be using two of them. One is the Kartari yoga. This is when the planets are in a 2nd and 12th from house in question. And we will also use the Uchanata, which is the Lord of Exaltation. For example, if Venus is in Libra, then it will deliver the results to the Jupiter, because Venus is exalted in the sign Pisces, which is loaded by Jupiter. And this one will be very important for those who are exposing themselves to situations like dangerous sports, hazards, or going into very extreme environment and things like that. This is the Gaspard Ulliel, and he was the stage actor, and he was very much into the fashion, brand modeling. He had also unfortunate accident, the fatal accidents whilst skiing, and therefore we will analyze his chart at the second stage, or the second type of accidents. Still, where we are, we could say it's a kind of bad luck. Okay, so let us put all the ingredients which are needed for the accident recipe. Again, we have 9th Lord Mars and Ketu involved. Again, we have Sagittarius, because that's the central point of this video. And we also have the Lagna Lord and 10th house. We know that for longevity, the Lagna and 10th are very important. In the previous case, it was Lagna Lord and 8th Lord Venus, right? Which was also getting the hit. In this case, it was Jupiter, Lagna Lord, and the 10th Lord. And he was critically injured in Dasha, or time, of Mars and Jupiter. Now, if we will see the Rashi chart, Mars and Jupiter are related to that specific house in the Sagittarius, which is showing the accident. Especially the Mars and Ketu, they are doing the sandwiching, the Papa Kartari yoga. So they are like being in a Sagittarius. Now for this chart, the Navamsa has only 6 minutes span. So imagine to get the proper Trim Shamsa, it will be like 4 times more difficult. But I have rectified it to Scorpio. using a few dasha. How we are getting the Jupiter Antardasha, right? Some will say, oh, it's in the 11th house in the Navamsa. It is the natural Badaka, right? Natural Aquarius. There may be something to it. Maybe some rapid, some big ups and downs like the 11th house likes to give. Maybe also in the Navamsa, this house will reflect that in the similar situation like in the Rasi chart. But we need to have some connection to the 8 or 12, right? That is the foundation for the period to give something fatal, or at least some serious disease or fatal accident if we have connection to Mars-Ketu or Sagittarius. So 12th Lord is a Venus in own sign. We are speaking about the principle of Ucha Nata. Now the Ucha Nata, the Lord of exaltation for the Venus, is Jupiter. So in the Jupiter Dasha, the 12th Lord results were delivered by Jupiter. Guess what? 12th Lord Venus is aspected by Mars and Ketu. So interesting pattern is coming up. The 12th Lord, Rasi Drishti on the 12th Lord, may have a big impact on the circumstances of death. At least in those situations, we have the repeating pattern of Mars and Ketu. And here the Venus comes into play both in Rashi and in the Navamsa. Therefore, we could say that it was somewhat a vehicle involved in that situation. Now, what about 5th from Arudha Lagna? The Arudha Lagna will jump to Sagittarius because he was involved into that fashion industry. So we need Mercury and Venus on the Arudha. And 5th from Arudha is that Mars, which is involved in the yoga. Okay, so we have all the points involved. We have Mars and Ketu, we have the 9th Lord, we have 5th from Arudha Lagna, and in the Navamsa, we have connection to 8 or 12. Specifically, we need the 12th house. And in this situation, it was delivered by the principle of Uchanata from 12th Lord Venus to the Jupiter. And the Rasi Drishti on the 12th Lord was of Mars and Ketu, therefore confirming not one was easier and was in the house. It was like the accident in the house, and the second one was related to sports and was a little bit more complicated. It demands or it requires from us some more advanced knowledge about the yoga formation. And now the third story will answer the question how to see that this karma of accident will rather affect our dear ones. Because in Vedic astrology, we are not only having information about us, about the subject, but also because of the divisional chart, we may have exposure to karma of people who are in our life, who are around us, who are belonging to our circle. And we have the German TV host and TV producer Barbel Schaefer. And this is an important chart from the perspective of accidents. You will see many planets in Sagittarius in 8th house because not only her partner died in the accidents, the first one, but also her younger brother later on. So we have 2 people in her life died in the accident. And we will see that this person was born on the Sankranti. The sun is just entering the house. This is when a person is born around the 15, 16 of the month. Then we have this situation when the sun is just, we are saying the changing the clothes for the new sign. And in those situations, the Varesha is hit. In that case, it was Moon, the 3rd Lord, therefore the younger sibling. And because Moon is the 3rd Lord, the younger sibling karma would be somewhat colored by this negative dosha of the Sankranti, or the sun entering the new sign or house. Now you would say it's a 7th Lord in the Sagittarius, right? There is the Venus. And there is Titesha. It's easy, right? We have all those planets signifying the partner. But if we will go back to the second example, we will also have all those 3 elements. So we know that also they may give inspiration, but they are not deciding. We also see that dispositor of all of these lordship in Sagittarius, the Jupiter, is having the karma of Yama, the death, because it's aspected by both Mars and Saturn. Mars-Saturn yoga is called in Vedic astrology the Yama yoga, or the Yama is the god of death. If you have this yoga in the chart, don't worry, it may also manifest very positively in your life. That depends on the rest of the chart. So because we have a 7th Lord involved, let us check what happens to the spouse on the level of Rashi and in the Navamsa. So first of all, if we take the Upapada, which is the Arudha of the 12th house, showing the marriage or the spouse in the chart, this will be the symbol UL. in the chart. It's very important, but you must remember it is showing the first serious marriage or first serious partnership. For the consecutive, you need to count 8 from the original Upapada for the next, and again 8 for the next one, and so on. So this yoga in Sagittarius is not 5th from the Aruda. It is 5th from the Upapada. So interestingly, we will derive that especially from the next example, that the 10th Lord Rahu is also involved here. And why I'm speaking about 10th? Because it's 4th from the 7th. So it may show the 4th karma, but for others in our life. It could be our partners, it could be other people, right? So the 10th Lord Rahu is involved. So we got 5th from Upapada related to the yoga of Sagittarius, and we have 4th from the 7th, which is the 10th Lord Rahu having the Graha Drishti and Rasi Drishti. But what is the real deal? What is the real thing? In the Navamsa, because it happened in Venus, the Venus is not related to the 12th house now, but is related to the 12th from the 7th, which is the 6th house. For the 6th house will show the health or demise of our spouse or partner, and we will see that this Venus is aspected by the Ketu. In Sagittarius also in the Navamsa. So this now describes the situation of the spouse. It's not us, it's not our 12th house, it's the spouse 12th house. So you can see how the Varga chart, how the Navamsa is defining or delegating this karma of Sagittarius to completely other person. So without the Navamsa, we would get some hints, some triggers from the Rashi, but the confirmation would be in the Navamsa. The 12th house is not involved, the 6th house is involved. Therefore, this was related to the karma of the spouse. Now, if you have this in the yoga, check the spouse chart too. And if he has that, and if the dasha in your chart is around 6 and in his chart is around 8 or 12, then you know that the spouse have to do the mantra to protect himself or herself from the accident. Okay guys, if you like this video, please do me a favor so others can also be exposed to this video. Click the thumbs up. And if you like to be notified about similar videos to this in the future, please consider subscribing. Okay, let us go to the last example, to the 4th one. So till now we were doing 2 accidents. The first one was in the house, the second was in the sports, the third one was accident to people in our life, and in that case it was the partner. And now we are going to a little bit different categorization, because it's also about the others, but we are the cause. And when we think about it, it's not like 8th house vibe, because 8 is showing that there is some bad karma. We have like float car, there are the brakes problems, the oil is leaking, and the controls are all the time turning on, and there is some flow in the car. But 6th house is the weakness, and this weakness can also be the weakness of character, and therefore it is a little bit, some say, worse house because of this. Of course, there is also a twist, because if 6th house is totally, we could say, cushioned by benefics, then it's turned his face like a coin to a benefic house, and then it's more in that upachaya category and giving us a lot of growth, good habits, memory, the community, service, and all those nice things. So if you have in the chart, you need to be specifically cautious, because not only you may hurt yourself, but you can really create a bad karma for yourself by hurting others. So here we have a chart of Irving Chapman, and he had 2 situations when the person who was involved in both of these scenarios, he said that he had really bad luck, because 2 times he killed other people with the car, in 88 and also in 99. So what we will be analyzing, definitely instead of Upapada, which is showing our partner, our spouse, we can see A7, which is showing the others. And as you may guess, we'll be looking at the 2nd and 5th from the A7. So we'll be looking for yogas for homicide, right, using the car. And we know 2 such yogas. This is Jiva Hatya Yoga, Jupiter and Rahu, and or Saturn and Jupiter. So the first thing happened in Mercury, the second happened in Mercury-Rahu. Now Mercury is with the Sun in the 6th house. Now 6th house is coming into the picture, right? We know that in both scenarios, he was under the influence of alcohol, and sixth house is about that weakness, and Saturn, especially when related to sixth from Aruda Lagna, is related to this alcohol problem. But where are the other parts of the recipe? Where is the ninth lord? We see that the ninth lord is Jupiter, and we have there a Saturn-Jupiter yoga, you see? So this is first indicator, and that Jupiter is in the Leo, so Jupiter is in the Sun's sign, and Sun is in the Jupiterian sign. So we have again the parivartana, right? This may show that something is happening twice, there is some exchange, and there is some, like I call the vahana, there is some mechanism going on. And it will have to do with the bad luck. Now, what about the Ketu and the Venus? For that yoga, there is a Malika yoga. So when planets are happening in 12th or 11th from the yoga, they are also, we could say, like adding to the yoga. So we have a Ketu, the Karaka for accidents, and of course we need to have Venus, which is also the fourth lord, showing the vehicle. And we were also saying that the accidents for others may be related to the 10th house, because it's fourth from the 7th. And in the 10th house, we have Rahu aspected and in the sign of Mars, whilst Mars is in the sign of Rahu. So we have parivartana, we could call it accident parivartana between Mars and Rahu. And also you will notice that Rahu is aspecting the Aruda Lagna, and when Rahu is aspecting Aruda Lagna, you will have a bad image, right? And then if the Rahu is aspected by Jupiter, you may have a bad image related to killing others. And we can see that Jupiter is aspecting the Rahu. So it's the scandal or a bad image related to killing others. And guess what? On the Aruda, we have Venus and the fourth lord. This is the last element of the whole story. This is the scandal or bad reputation related to killing others, and Venus fourth lord, which is related to the cars, or this is like they call it the vehicular homicide. Okay, so we have a 10th house, and we are also the other ingredient for the recipe of others being affected was the A7, right? So is the Mercury or Rahu related to 2nd and 5th from A7? As A7 is in Taurus, 2nd is Gemini, loaded by Mercury, and 5th from A7, from the Darapada, is loaded by both Mercury and Rahu. What was the dasha? What was the time in which the accident happened? Mercury, and the second one, Mercury, Rahu. Now, and very important thing, when you are doing bad karma for others, then you will have malefics in 6 from Aruda Lagna. So that Rahu, because it was in Mercury, Rahu, so that Rahu, that Antardasha planet, is in the 6th from Aruda Lagna and is also in the 10th house, or others are affected. We can also see that the 7th lord, which is showing others, the Saturn, is in the 9th house, right? In the sign of Jupiter, so this is the killing yoga, and the Saturn is having the Kartari yoga, or is surrounded by this Mars and Rahu, this yoga for accident. Now you can see, this is all on that 7 to 10 hemisphere. It's not in the inner, but it's in the outer. Therefore, it's also involving others. And of course, we need to have confirmation in the Navamsa, because if Navamsa doesn't give its vote, it will not happen. It will be something else. The first thing which caught my attention is the Sarpa yoga, right? Malefics in the Kendra. And especially if it's Jupiter and Rahu, then the person may be involved in some kind of Jiva Hatya. It could be working in a slaughterhouse, it could be some other such situation, at least when one is taking the peace of others away. There is a danger if other parts of the chore support this. So in this situation, we have 6th lord involved. Venus Ketu yoga is there. So we see that we have confirmation that it has caused a harm to others, right? This person has killed in the vehicular homicide other people twice. And 6th lord, which is showing the death of others, is involved. But in this case, it is also related to the Lagna, which is like the person, and the 12th lord, which is also showing that he will also be very much affected by the situation. Here is Rahu, so maybe it is related to the jail. For that, we need to check 12 from Karakamsha, and 12 from Karakamsha is also involved. For the 12 from 7, which means hurting others, 12 from Lagna, hurting yourself, and also it is related to the jail time because we have the Karaka-Rahu and also we have 12 from the Karakamsha. If you have those situations, 12 from the Karakamsha, you have Sarpa Yoga, you have 6 from Aruda Lagna, those situations are in the chart and you need to be very careful. You need to see the dasha and you need to do the protective mantras to not put yourself into some kind of trouble. Therefore, some weaknesses or even the bad luck, if the Ninth Lord is involved, can put you in a situation which may be quite problematic. So with the help of the dasha, we are protecting ourselves from this bad influence. Okay, guys, so the takeaway is that we have categorized this into these 3 situations. One was just accident, second was accident for our dear ones, and the third one was when we are causing the accident. We were discussing the ingredients for accidents, the Ninth Lord, the Mars and Ketu for something very rapid, Sagittarius sign, and also we have confirm the timing in the Navamsa with the 8 and 12. We were also using Aruda to see what will really manifest. The practical important thing is we need to have rectified Navamsa. We need to do the mantras if we are in those bad periods. And the third thing, we need to pay attention to the periods in which we are now. Are they related to the 8 and 12? And in the yearly chart, do we have also those situations? And in those vulnerable times, we need to be careful and do our mantras. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for those who stayed to this point and for those who are sticking with me on this channel. Let me know your thoughts below. If you like to have your chart analyzed, the Rashi, the Navamsa, the Vargas, the Dashas, the Yogas you have in the chart, and also the remedies to block the negative and enhance the best thing of your chart, then hit me up with this email here and we can schedule 60 or 90 minutes consultation on the Zoom. And if you like to see the previous one about the accident, then it's here.